Because I can't see my suitcase.
We're counting now.
Alright.
4, 3, 2, 1, and we're live. We're live.
Hey everybody,
Hello.
welcome to this awesome Garnier Men Google Plus Hangout. We're going to do a lot of interesting things today. We got some absolute legends of the game down here, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the IPL, we're going to talk about the teams, we're going to talk about the experiences, and you guys will participate as well. So my name is Deepak. Everybody calls me Chuck for some strange reason. You can do that too. So before we get into this, I just want to tell you about this fantastic initiative that Garnier Men India is doing. So electricity is something that all of us take for granted, right? Everything we do centers around it. You play Angry Birds on your phone, you place your beer in the fridge, you watch the IPL, and you attend this hangout, all because of electricity. 1 hour without electricity and your life's a mess. Just spell out for those guys who don't have electricity for an entire day or indeed their entire lives. And here's where Garnier Men steps in. So it's a fantastic initiative where they're supplying electricity to these villages, to these homes with solar power. So they tap in the solar power with panels, and they supply with bulbs and tube lights across villages. So currently there are around 70,000 households across the country that need electricity, and this is a fantastic way to sort of like bridge the gap and get there. Garnier Men is the official grooming partner for 2 wonderful IPL teams, the SunRisers Hyderabad and Rajasthan Royals, and you guys can participate in this as well. So just get on to Twitter, get on to Facebook. If you're on Twitter, tweet out with the hashtag #GarnierMenHangout and join in. Every tweet that you send out, Garnier Men will donate 1 watt of electricity towards this initiative. 1 watt is 1 joule per second for guys who are not engineers. So a few introductions here. A few introductions. We have some absolute legends of the game over here. Firstly, there's a guy who defied his family and didn't become a doctor, and people all over the country are very thankful for that. For many 4th innings chases. BBS Laxman is here with us. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you here. Very, very special to have you over here. There's another gentleman whose style would not be out of place in the T20 game. Player, captain, selector, and now sunriser. Sir, Kris, Srikkanth, is great to have you over here. And we have probably the most famous lawyer in the game with us as well. And one half of cricket's biggest partnership with Mahila Jayawada. So we have Kumar Sangakkara here with us as well. Couple more people will be joining us in a while, and I will introduce you to those guys as we go. So are we all good to go? Shall we start off? So the way this is going to happen is I'm going to ask you a few questions. There are some people who are going to pitch in with their questions as well, and we'll just take it. Let's just have a bit of fun with this. Right? You guys can tweet out with #GarnierMen Hangout. We will go through your tweets and we will pick up the best ones and we will ask these questions as well. So, one question right on the table to everybody. Maybe a controversial question maybe, but the IPL, what is your opinion of the IPL? Is it growing talent? Is it growing talent? Is the best thing to happen to cricket, or is the worst thing to happen to cricket since the introduction of pink balls? So the table's open. Anyone can really take this. What do you guys really think about the IPL?
Well,
He's an opener. Fair enough.
I think I have a better opener along with me in Sangakkara. Since anyway, probably I'm the Bhishma of the team here. Actually, I take it on because probably the oldest member here. Instantly, I use a lot of my color in my hair. Everybody thinks I'm very young. So probably I start ornament, coloring, chemical system for me. And talk about solar energy. Don't forget, what is solar energy? It's all about power from the sun. So the SunRisers Hyderabad are perfect solar energy for the entire IPL. So don't forget that we are probably the new solar bulbs playing the IPL. And so far so good, all the bulbs are working fine. And that's good. And coming to IPL, see, IPL is a great opportunity as 2020 is going to be. See, you'll have to understand one thing. There are 3 formats of cricket: 2020, 50-50, 1 day. I mean, 1 day and test, sorry. So let's not confuse things. This is one stream, one day is one stream, and test is one stream. So I mean, at the end of the day, you have to understand one thing. Everything is a change. Everything changes in the world. We are living in a fast world. Even the lives have become 2020. The very fact that we are doing the show is also a 2020 show. People from all over the world can see us. It's all about innovation. So I think, in all fairness, I think we'll have to give it to IPL. I think they've invented this formula where the biggest advantage as far as Indian cricketers as well as say foreign cricketers are concerned are that they all get together, share the dressing room. Imagine a guy like Akshat Reddy or Ashish Reddy sharing the dressing room with dates, saying, what a feeling it is. That's what IPL brings to you. And a lot of youngsters learn that. It's all up to the players to make best use of this.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kris.
To continue where Srikkanth has left, I think it's a great initiative by the BCCI. Without a doubt, it has got a lot of positives. One positive is already mentioned where the domestic Indian players are recognized for their efforts. It's a big stage for them to actually go and play to their potential and express themselves. And sharing a dressing room with some of the legends of world cricket and playing against some of the best players in world cricket. And I think that boosts their confidence and that helps them in the future. Number one. Number two is it's a pure form of entertainment.
Absolutely.
I have seen that a lot of families feel that it's a complete package for an evening out. So I think you got people who never knew about the game to come to the ground or watch on television.
And if more people play it and watch it, that's only a good thing, right?
Absolutely. And the third thing is a lot of parents are encouraging their kids to take cricket as a profession, which was not when I started the game. I think it's a great, so more number of players playing the game, you have more number of players from which you choose the national team. So it's always great. I think IPL has given a lot to Indian cricket, especially the domestic players.
Fantastic. Sangha, foreign perspective maybe?
Yeah, I think like Vegas and Sri said, there are lots of aspects of the IPL that has been very beneficial to very much to Indian cricket and to world cricket as well. I think that we're all cricketers, and one of our main objectives as cricketers is to ensure that we put on a great spectacle, and we encourage more and more people to come and watch cricket. There are three separate formats of the game, and T20 has now become the fastest growing format in the sense of attracting new fans to come and watch cricket. And as cricketers, if you're able to put on a great spectacle that the fans watch, and encourage younger and newer fans to come and join the spectators at each game, whether it be live or on TV, I think we've done a great job. Also, when we talk about Test cricket and we talk about the future of Test cricket, it's no secret that viewership for Test cricket has been on the wane. But I think that the tournaments like the IPL and the T20 offer a way out, where I think even the sustenance of Test cricket will depend on the success of T20 cricket, because if the finance generated from T20 cricket can be injected to developing Test cricket further, to ensuring that Test cricket remains the prime format of the game, and that Test cricket will be there all the time, sharing equal space in T20 and one-day cricket. That's a great advantage. But I think if you take fringe Indian players and fringe international players, they've had a great platform to come and display their skills. And you've seen some of these players now become very good international players as well. So it offers various opportunities to various people, to cricketers, to fans, to administrators, to all stakeholders, to have a very successful format on display and improve cricket and benefit cricket in the short term as well as in the long term.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Sangha. That in fact leads me to the next question, which I wanted to ask you in particular, because we see you as a global spokesperson for the game. Do you think T20 is the ticket which cricket needs now to go into geographies that it hasn't been able to venture into, like say the US and Canada? Sorry, China.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most relevant questions being asked today by the ICC and by all other home boards around the world. If you take the main test playing countries, we've always had a tradition of test cricket in our country. Some date back to well over 100 or 200 years. And if countries don't have that heritage, don't have that cricket playing structure domestically, it's very hard for them to take up the format of Test and ODI cricket. Also, if you're talking about China and America, it's hard sometimes then to comprehend the idea of a 5-day game where no one wins at the end of 5 days. But it also doesn't fit into the lifestyles of Indian modern families.
Right.
And if you take T20 cricket, 3 hours. Perfect. Get fantastic entertainment. It's compressed cricket, but very powerful cricket. It has every single skill that you will see in the other two formats, but you see all of that in a matter of 3 hours.
Yeah.
Housewives, children, music executives, anyone who's a fan of highly skilled sports people coming in and displaying their skills can fit it into one of their evenings or afternoons, and it doesn't really take up too much of their time. And the entertainment and thrill factor is also at an all-time high with the amount of wickets being taken, the fours and the sixes being scored, and also the nail-biting finishes that we've seen in all years of the IPL. So if you take America, China, and beyond, this is the ideal format to really go in there and open up new markets, which will in turn benefit the sustainability of the sport into the future for our children and their children and beyond really enjoy. So I think it's a great format. We don't have to overkill it, but at the same time, we've got to really nurture and manage it and grow it in a very positive way.
Yeah, I think that's the idea. I think it's all a matter of balance over here. So let's just move a little away from this particular format, and I have a question for VBS, which a lot of people have been asking me to ask you actually. How is it that, you have played some of the most calm, composed innings of the last decade. What is it? How do you manage to, keep your cool under all that pressure under which a lesser person would have just wilted?
I think it's come with a lot of experience, without a doubt. Playing for Hyderabad when I was growing up, I think helped me a lot because I was the mainstay of Hyderabad back in and I always wanted to win matches for Hyderabad. So that sort of transfer even into international cricket. But I always relished playing under tough situations, and it's great, very satisfying when you win matches, matches for your country from tough situations. I've always relished those situations.
Fantastic. We have a couple of people. Who have joined us, and I have a feeling that these are a couple of names that you might have heard of. Firstly, is a man who was known as Jamie and now is known as the Wall. A man who started off with a brilliant 95 in a test match at Lords and now is making scintillating 50s in the IPL. The one and only Rahul Dravid. So it's a pleasure to have you over here. And we are also joined by Paddy Upton. A lot of you will remember him as the man who really kept Sehwag going for that triple century. So, sir, thank you for that, and it's a pleasure to have you here as well. So Rahul, we're just getting wound up over here. We have just asked a few questions about the IPL. This is an initiative by Garnier Men, PowerLight A Village. It's a fantastic initiative. A few very quick questions which I'd like to ask you. It's a mix of a test and IPL type question that I really want to ask you. You are looked upon as a classical batsman, right, with a flawless technique. How do you think that fits into this bam world of T20 cricket?
Well, I think you firstly need to be a good player to succeed even in the 2020 format of the game. If you look at some of the quality of the bowling attacks that are on display even in the IPL. For example, if you're playing tomorrow, you're playing a Stain or a Sharma or a Mishra, you need to be a pretty good player. Absolutely. To be successful consistently over a period of time. And even if you look at the guys in the top of the charts of the highest scorers, whether it's a Kris or a Virat Kohli or a Suresh Raina or a Rohit Sharma, or some of these guys, and they're all pretty successful test players as well. Right. You look at Kris and Virat's been doing particularly well. You have to be a good player. And it shows. You look at Mahela batting or a Sangha batting, and you look at these guys, and you see that if you have that basics right, and if you have a strong base, foundation right, you can succeed in all three forms of the game. Sure, there are people with some exceptional power, people like a Kris or a Shane Watson, who have this exceptional power and strength, which differentiates them from, say, the rest of everybody else. But still, you need to be a pretty good player.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing I want to ask you is, you are a person with a lot of experience coming into a fairly young side. How is it that you are using your experience to sort of like groom these players? It's a young side, and there must be a challenge as a captain, but an opportunity as well. So how is it that you use your experience to groom these players? Is really what I'm trying to ask.
Well, I think it's really exciting. I've sort of been with the Rajasthan Royals for the last 3 years. It's a slightly different franchise to some of the other franchises, the way that we do our things and the way we go about our business. And the fact that we're looking from that point of view to promote and then work with a lot of young players. So there is a culture within the franchise even before I was here for that sort of thing. So I've just come in and mixed well with it, and I've really enjoyed the last 3 years here, and the opportunity to actually look at some very exciting young talent in India, get a chance to work with them, give them some opportunities, and help them along the way in their journey. It's also, I think, there are good systems in place. I think there's a good team culture, there's a good team spirit. We put processes and systems in place that help the kids right throughout the year. It's not only just about these 2 months.
That's right.
We're constantly in touch with our domestic talent right through the year. So there's a lot of stuff that goes in behind the scenes, not only from me, but from a lot of other people in the franchise that helps the franchise in some ways overachieve. It's nice to have had Paddy here join us this year as well. He brings a completely different dimension to normally what coaching is seen as or viewed as, and we're very excited to explore that side of things.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Rahul. So right now we're going to actually do something different. We are going to ask a couple of bloggers to get a few questions. The first blogger we have with us is Jaideep. Jaideep, are you here with us?
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jaideep.
Hi, my question is just to Mr. Dravid. Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi Jaideep, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Figure out this. I must admit, I'm not very technologically.
Okay. So my question is that IPL is fantastic, T20 is outstanding entertainment. But do you think because of this T20 effect, the new generation of batsmen, there has been a disintegration in their techniques while batting comes to when it concerns with batting? Like in the recent past, we have seen a few scores of teams getting out for 48, 47, even teams like Australia getting bowled out for 47. Do you think it's because of the influence of the T20s that batsmen played too many shots and they've forgotten the art of leaving balls?
Geez, I've got to be careful what I say here, because I've been part of teams that have got out for 66 and 100, and and this was a lot before T20 started. So there have been low scores in difficult wickets, a lot before T20 started. Look, I think there are challenges. I think there are young batsmen of today has different choices. He can play different forms of the game, and the very fact that he has to shuffle between 3 forms of the game as a youngster, brings a completely new challenge to him, because he's sort of focused between Test cricket, 2020, and just to find the time to actually hone those skills. But like I think we've shown, and like I said in my first answer, I think if I was a young kid and if I was trying to play cricket, one of the things I would actually look at is to see who are the guys who are actually successful, even in the T20 format, consistently. You can have the ball and flash of brilliance, along the way, but the consistently successful guys are actually the ones who are actually doing well, even in Test cricket. I would conclude from that you need a strong basic foundation and an ability to play good quality bowling, even if you want to succeed in the T20 format.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rahul, it's strange that you said that you're not technologically brilliant, but you're technically brilliant. Sorry, that's a very sad joke there. And Jaideep, thanks so much for that question. You were speaking to a man who had for a long time the fastest one-day 50 in Indian cricket. Our next blogger is Krishna. Hey Krishna, can you hear us? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Krishna.
Krishna, you'll have to kind of repeat that. Alright, so it looks like the mandatory technical difficulty that every Google Hangout has. So we'll see if we can try and fix this. In the meantime, you guys who are watching, thanks for joining in. You can be a part of this wonderful initiative. Just tweet out on Twitter with #Garnier Men Hangout. Every tweet, any interaction that you do on Facebook will donate 1 watt of electricity towards houses that don't have electricity. So let's continue with this. We have a few questions. There's one question which my roommate, who's a huge Laxman fan, has been asking me to ask you. It's around the stability of a team. He's of the theory that teams that invest in players over a longer period of time and keep them as a core unit together, they tend to do better over rather than shuffling players in and out. So I just want your views on that. What do you think about that?
I think that's very important. Any good successful team will have a very good core group, and you don't want to change and chop the players in the core group. I think it's very important to identify a good set of core groups who are match winners and who have a lot of value for the way the team functions. Right. And I think it's very important to identify those players. And once you do that, you have the belief in them and you trust them. Mm-hmm. And whenever they do that, I think the teams are successful most of the time. And stability comes with giving trust to your players, giving confidence to your players, and most importantly, having faith that they can win matches for you and do well for the team. Mm-hmm. And the good teams I have been part of have that kind of a culture within the team.
That's right. So, in fact, this observation of his actually came from the English Premier League, where the successful teams were teams who actually invested in a core group of players. I guess it's true across sport, across formats. Interestingly, Kris, a question for you. It's an interesting hat that you've done. You were a captain. You were a selector. Now you're involved in a team in a different capacity. From a selectorial point of view, how important do you think the IPL is in grooming young talent?
See, when I was the chairman of the selectors, we looked at IPL. I mean, IPL performance was looked at.
Right.
But end of the day, I'll just go on to what Rahul had to say. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to be a good cricketer. You ensure that the guy who has been selected, whether it be from a guy who's good in IPL, will probably fit into the shorter format of the game much more easily than the longer format of the game.
Right.
But end of the day, he has to be a brilliant cricketer. So I won't say that we have directly picked any guy from IPL into a test side, except for one bowler I can remember, Amit Mishra.
Right.
Because we realized that a guy like spinner, if he can bowl brilliantly in a 4-over spell and consistently win matches for his team, we realized he must be a good leg spinner. But then we went through his record, then we realized that he had already had 200 Ranji Trophy on wickets. So from IPL to international cricket is almost next to impossible. It's top to bottom. You have to do well in domestic cricket, you will have to do well in all forms of cricket. And if you do well in IPL, probably for the T20 format, which is now coming up quite successfully across the world, he might get an opportunity, the player might get an opportunity. But as a selector, we look at IPL as a good tournament. We probably identify some players who are good enough to probably, but the bottom line is he good enough to play international cricket? And then when he gets selected to international.
I hope if there are some young cricketers watching this, they pick up a lesson or two. Rahul, a question which I had asked Kumar actually. How do you groom your players? How do you use your how do you prepare them for a match? How do you? There are a lot of youngsters, like you already said, right? So I'm sure there are a lot of nerves when they're going on a stage like this. There's so many people, the stakes are so high. There are so many people who are watching. What's the advice that you give them?
Well, I just tell them I'm as nervous as they are. For starters, I think it doesn't matter how many games you play. You are always as nervous as the next person. I think it's one of the realization that I think experience teaches you that in time it's not that you get any less nervous. So we're all nervous, and I think that's one of the things that you try and tell young players that it's just that it's not that they're inadequate, but they're just less experienced than some other people. and everyone goes through the same experiences and nerves and pressure and situations that they do. I think we just try and have a lot of conversations. I think one of the beauties of the IPL and something that we really try to promote a lot is conversations within our group. I think we've got a lot of experience in the group, a lot of players who've played a lot of cricket, both of the test format, of the 2020 format. And it's about sharing this knowledge and this group. I think the knowledge of how to play cricket and how to succeed at the international level, is in our group. It's within the group. It's just how do you get that out and how do you communicate that to the youngsters? And I think Paddy's been really brilliant with that this year with us to have those conversations in and around the group over the last thing. And I think that's really beneficial to a lot of young players. Even if they don't get an opportunity to play, I think the fact that we create an environment that allows these conversations to take place, I think benefits a lot of them. They always come back to us and to me and talk about how beneficial the whole experience has been.
Which actually leads me to my next question, which is for Paddy. So your role is very different from everybody else at this table. So what is your experience of the IPL been? That's really all I want to ask.
I think that the IPL is very unique from a preparation perspective. And number one, it's a very short period of time, so there's not a lot of time to build a team that you would have in other formats. You've got players from 5, 6 different countries, from international players down to guys who just barely capped at first class level. So you've got this real cacophony of experience and languages and cultures within one team. And I think the art really there is to try and, as Rahul mentioned, we try and get all the experience within the group to be shared with each other. And instead of having a captain who's deciding what's going to happen or a coach who's deciding what's going to happen, our belief is that the knowledge sits within the group. So we really work to try and create a robust learning environment where players take responsibility for their own learning. And even we said to the young players, that they might not play a game, but there is no richer cricket learning environment that they will ever experience outside of the 2 months of IPL. So there's so many unique things, and I think from a coaching, from a leadership, from a captaincy perspective, it's quite a different approach that is required. And I think we're still getting to grips with exactly what that is. It's such a new game. I don't think anyone can say that I understand T20 cricket, I understand strategy, I understand selection. We're busy learning. And there's so much experience within the team. Within the Rajasthan Royals team of the 25 players, they probably play under 12, maybe 15, 18 different captains. They have experience of 18 different coaches, all sitting in one room. And it's really about harnessing that knowledge.
I think that's fantastic. I think that's a fantastic insight that, there's so much experience from different backgrounds, different countries. You may even have trouble just talking to each other and getting inside the dressing rooms with so many different backgrounds. I think that's fantastic. That's one of the things that the IPL has done. Sticking with the IPL, Sangha, I actually have a question for you. As you probably realize, our country is fairly passionate about this sport, to put it very, very, very mildly. In particular, the IPL, it's like Kris said earlier on, it's opened up the sport to a whole new audience. But I wanted to ask you, are Sri Lankans as crazy about the IPL as we Indians are?
Well, I think there are different Sri Lankans who are, in the sense that we're divided, I would say, in Sri Lanka. The majority, I think, are very receptive to IPL. They enjoy watching it on TV. But then you get a lot of our former players who have not lived in the T20 era. And a lot of other people in and around the game who are very critical of the IPL. Both at the commercial enterprise and also as a learning environment for cricket and cricketers. So we have all those opinions circulating in Sri Lanka, and it's been quite challenging for us to come and play and really address those issues by performing on the field and by playing cricket on the field with a big team, as Paddy said, of various backgrounds, cultures, and nationalities. And I think the 6 years that the IPL has seen Lankan cricketers participating has really improved the image of the IPL back home. We've encouraged a lot more people to watch the game. The game is on TV and they're broadcast in Sri Lanka. And also we've encouraged a lot of new fans even in Sri Lanka to come and watch not just T20 cricket but other formats of the game as well. And I think in Sri Lanka they're very passionate about their cricket. They're very loyal to the game. And IPL will keep being a very attractive tournament for them to come and watch. And I think that more and more people see the real cricket spectacle out there. They'll even convert some of the hardline opponents that IPL has in Sri Lanka.
That was very diplomatically put, and I wouldn't expect any less of a lawyer of your stature, Kumar. Just to remind you guys, this is brought to you by Garnier Men, PowerLight. The initiative is PowerLight A Village, where your tweets and your messages on Facebook will contribute towards electrifying houses across India. This is a fantastic initiative by Garnier Men, where they are tapping solar energy to light up villages' homes across India. There are currently 70,000 of these homes that need lighting up across the country. I think it's a fantastic initiative by Garnier Men. Which also happens to be a very good moisturizer and protection from the sun. So if you're going to go out and play some cricket in this sweltering heat, then you know what to reach out for. So just a few more questions over here. I'm going to go back to Rahul. Rahul, very quickly, favorite innings, your favorite innings that you've played from T20, One Day, and Test.
Hard to pick one. I mean, I think in the end, I'll always go back to my Test innings and always think of them as they've given me the most satisfaction. It's hard. I mean, Laxman's in this room, and obviously the memories of Eden Gardens and batting with him and that partnership on that day was something that I think will always stay with me. I guess it's in some ways both our careers will be defined by that particular inning. So that was definitely one of the days. Adelaide, winning in Australia, getting a double 100 to win. So I guess Pakistan as well to win the series in Pakistan. So I think most of these innings in which you've made a contribution and helped the side win. I think you remember at the end of your career. It's hard to pick one. But yeah, I think I would definitely lean towards a lot of my Test match innings.
Okay, you actually missed out my favorite innings of yours, which was 148 at Headingley.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky for a long time. So had a few. I thought Jamaica as well scored a couple of 50s, even though they won hundreds. With the series on the line to win the West Indies after such a long time. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think you look back and get old. I can bore my children.
I doubt they'll be bored really. Kris, a question for you actually. Since you've already said that you're the oldest person in the room, I don't need to be diplomatic about it. So, who do you think from your era would actually? I mean, I already said you'd be a perfect fit in the IPL today with your style of play. Who else from your
his off-spin, man? Don't forget his off-spin. 2 fifers as well.
Who do you think would be?
I mean, obvious choice is Kapil Dev. I think Kapil Dev would have been fitted into any team, any time. I mean, even 50 years down the line, it's just One Day and T20. I think Kapil Dev would have been the ideal cricketer for T20 format from India. And my all-time hero, Viv Richards, would have been simply superb to the West Indian angle. I mean, any good all-rounder those days, I mean, would have been a fantastic fit because IPL is all about a lot of all-rounders who can bowl a bit and bat a bit. But Kapil could not bat a bit, he could just thrash the bowling any way he wanted and bowl those brilliant balls and feel brilliantly. I mean, Kapil Dev was a superb fit. A guy like Roger Binney probably would have been a super fit for the Indian angle.
Imran Khan, he and both of them.
I think you're talking about other countries also.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, definitely Imran Khan, Wasim Akram, Ian Botham, Richard Hadley, those types, obviously. I mean, I don't have to talk about the 4 fast West Indian bowlers. Anytime there will be a fit in any day. Why? Clive Lloyd, Gordon Greenwich. I mean, these guys would have been a super fit host at this particular form of cricket. I mean, the list keeps going on.
Absolutely.
But I think there was a super cricketer called Roy Dias in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
he would have been an extraordinary fit in this particular format because he was just playing T20 test matches also. So, so Rohit he was an authentic, what do you call, technically perfect player like the other three guys here, Sangakkara, Rahul, or Dravid. He was not an unorthodox batsman like me. But Rohit was brilliantly superb. So I think from every country there are a lot of cricketers.
I think what you're saying just adds on to what Rahul says. All these names are fantastic cricketers who would do well in any format of the game.
That's right. I think you need, as Rahul did, Rahul said very rightly, you need to be a good cricketer first.
Absolutely.
It's like, you just can't be straight away become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer like Sangakkara. You need to be a good student. Unless you're a good student, you cannot be you cannot what you call the qualified person.
Right.
You need to be a good, you need to have a lot of good IQ like maybe Laxman or Rahul Dravid. Otherwise, you can't be scoring those 200 odd runs and getting India out when everybody wrote off India. So I think yes, it's an inborn talent that you definitely need. I always believe that if you have to play for your country, one of the things you achieve, you need an inborn talent.
Okay, but the IPL is also about entertainment. And it's about characters, right? You see a lot of characters in the IPL, if you know what I mean. So
you're telling me. Okay.
Bob Hughes comes on the top of my mind for some reason. But any other of these characters would have brightened up screens just by their very presence and their.
There was a guy called Rick Matthews. He was an absolutely extraordinary character from Australia. He would have probably fitted right into the IPL format. And who else from India? Sandeep Patel would have been a character in this particular format. Only problem is somebody else has to feel for him there. So he has to bat and Rahul Dravid has to send him a substitute for him. That's why. So
Rajasthan Royals.
So he can play for Rajasthan Royals then actually. Or other things. So. But Sandeep was a kind of a character nowadays. I guess it's something like that. These are the guys I could think of. Sri Lanka, who were the terrific characters?
In Sri Lanka, I think from the old days, Duleep Mendes would be good.
Duleep Mendes was solid in every sense. Solid in the size-wise, solid in batting-wise, and of course, Arvind Adesula is not that era. He's in between that era and Sangakkara.
Romesh was a name I was actually going to say.
Hello.
Yeah, absolutely. Pocket dynamite. I think he would have fit in very nicely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are going back to the other guys who are at the hangout over here. We have Pratik Gupta with us. Pratik, can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. No technical difficulties this time. Pratik, go ahead.
So hi guys. Firstly, like a big fan of all you guys. So it's a pleasure being here. My question is for Sangakkara and Dravid, and the question comes from I read an article that your wife wrote, Dravid, and in the article that she wrote, she mentioned that like she would pack your bag and she would pack your clothes, but when she would be at a hotel with you, you would stay in separate rooms and you had your own time to prepare. And since you guys play one-day internationals, you play T20s right after that, and you move in match. How do you switch from one format of the game to the other, and how does your preparation change from one format to the other? Because sitting outside it looks like a difficult task, and being you guys, it must be even more difficult.
I guess when Vijita was traveling with me, I was lucky to be captain of the side, so I had the pleasure of getting a nice sleep. So it did help sometimes when you're having a fight with the wife to be able to just go to the other room and switch off. But look, preparation is preparation. I think you don't really prepare differently for a test match or a 2020 or a one-day game. I think it's. I guess it's the formats are slightly different, so you might practice a few different shots, so you might bat a little differently in the nets leading into the test match. But really, once you get into the swing of things, whether it was a test series or whether it's the IPL or whether it's then it really comes down to just managing yourself mentally, emotionally, and just getting into that state of mind that allowed you to put in your best foot forward. It's not going to work all the time, but just having that consistency in terms of your routines and consistency in terms of the way you prepare for a game. I don't think that personally, at least from my point of view, didn't particularly change for doesn't change irrespective of whether it's a death match or a one-day game.
All right.
I think I just come in here that you're asking one of the consummate professionals of the game who prepares unbelievably well and doesn't leave a stone unturned. So that's how Rahul goes about it. So if you asked a lot of other cricketers, you might get a slightly different answer. The guys that do that perfect preparation every time.
Because that was
pretty obsessive as well. So maybe he can tell us. From what Myers told me, Sangakkara apparently obsessive. So I think we could connect.
Yeah, awesome. I think Rahul said about preparation, and there are shortcuts to any format of the game. Your approach to an innings from format to format, and your approach to knocking the nets by change at times, but your preparation is constantly the same, as thorough as you can be.
I mean, at least from the outside, it never looks like Sehwag needs to prepare, right? Because he does not have a switch-off button. He plays in the same way that in all three forms of the game. But I mean, to you guys who have a routine, I mean, at least we thought that that'd be a little bit of a different kind of a preparation. But thanks for the.
I wouldn't get carried away with perception. I think Sehwag hits a lot of cricket balls before a game. He hits a lot of cricket balls. He's many bowling coaches complained of sore shoulders after before the test. Sehwag gets into the mood. I think it's a perception that he doesn't prepare. He prepares.
No, of course he prepares. Sure.
Awesome. So we're going to actually ask our next blogger, which is Madhusudan, to ask the next question. Madhu, are you here with us? So just does it sound like a DJ trying to do something?
Yeah. Can it tell me? I'm supposed to automatically look up when you sing.
The question is for
So perhaps the next schedule should be on faster internet speeds across. So unfortunately, we can't get Madhu's question over here. We had actually asked a few of you guys to write into us with questions that you had with the hashtag. So we have picked out a couple of tweets which we liked and we want to put it on the table. Sangha, one question for you. Pooja asked this question. She says that while a lot of teams are going for big names, your team is actually interested in cultivating local talent. And actually, this is a question that I guess VBS and Kris will also be able to answer. So, any thoughts on that?
I think it's very important to cultivate local talent and local youngsters, be they from Hyderabad or any other part of India. I think they're going to be the core of any franchise. You have 7 Indian players and only 4 internationals playing in one team. And the cultivation of the Indian talent that you have, especially the young talent, is going to be the way the franchise can improve and keep on improving into the final stages of the first 10 years of IPL. We paid a lot of attention to that in sharing our knowledge and experience, but also learning quite a bit from them as well. The perspective that they bring into our team, the vibrancy, the energy that they bring is great for the older players, even the international players to learn from. And we've had a great combination of experience, of youth, and of international talent that's been really good for the dressing room and for the team.
Kris, would you like to say anything to that?
No, I think it was a bit of a conscious effort in the sense that don't forget this SunRisers Hyderabad is the first year we're getting into IPL, and we wanted to promote a lot of young faces. And at the end of the day, it's worked very well for us. Sangha being the captain, you saw a lot of new guys doing very well. Bihari, an unknown guy who's got 2 man of the matches in the last 8 matches. And that is our idea. The idea is to promote young talent and at the same time have these experienced guys sharing their experience with them so that we're also trying to build a team for the future. And that is what it is. Next year we have the major auction coming. So we thought we'll build it up slowly towards it. But I think if you see the success of any IPL team, it all depends on a lot of these youngsters who played well. Even for a guy like a team like Chennai Super Kings, before playing Test cricket, it was Ashwin or Badri all these guys had never played Test cricket before that, or Vijay, all these guys. And later on, they went on to play international cricket. That's a different story. But these youngsters mean a lot. I think that's what I think, if I'm right, Rajasthan Royals also doing. They're also promoting new faces. And that's very, very important. And I think, as Lax said earlier on, the whole idea of IPL also gives a great opportunity for some unknown cricketers to express themselves and showcase the talent.
Fantastic. I think that is one of the positives that's come out from the IPL. A lot of local players have they've been exposed to the world, if not anything. What a fantastic experience for them, like Rahul said, to share dressing rooms with all these legends from across the country and across the world.
I think franchises also have a great responsibility, not to just eat up players and spit them out, chew them up and spit them out, but really invest in them and really develop them and improve them, both as cricketers and as people.
So we're pretty much near the end of this. I just want to go back to the initiative that the guys behind me, that's Garnier Men, PowerLight is doing. Basically, it's an activity of theirs where they are electrifying villages across the country using solar power. And you guys have contributed as well. A lot of tweets, a lot of updates on Facebook have come in. Thank you guys for that. Each of those are going towards a village. So keep it coming thick and fast. It's free. It's if you guys don't have a Twitter account, open one and tweet out with the hashtag. So while we end this, I just want to ask everybody on this, at this table, what do you think of this initiative, especially SunRisers Hyderabad? Like you stole that question which I had. Is the sun is coming up? You stole that from my.
Unfortunately, I'm too intelligent to.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. On Twitter we call this the knowledgeable Chennai crowd. So
yeah, generally all three South Indians are here. So generally, no, he's also South of India.
South of India.
So generally, you get the feeling the South Indians are more intelligent, brainy lot, and you have a lawyer, you have an engineer, you have an extraordinary cricketer, a superb speaker. Then you have Laxman, a perfect gentleman, superb everything, and Laxman is a superb person. What I like, actually, one important thing I'd like to share with everybody is, I never wanted to be a chairman, but when I became chairman, I think two of the closest guys whom I used to work with the Indian team are these two guys here, Mr. Laxman and Mr. Three guys, in fact. Virendra Sehwag was always my hero. Laxman, Dravid, and Sehwag, three of us. I used to spend a lot of time with these three guys, breaking their brains, what to do, what not to do. And that was one of the reasons why India did very well consistently. I should say, it's lovely to be with legends like Rahul, Dravid, and Laxman and Sangakkara here. And you know how Sangakkara speaks and Rahul speaks. So anything South Indian, South of India, always great.
And this includes
SunRisers Hyderabad, because your whole team is about lighting everybody. Solar energy. What is solar energy? SunRisers Hyderabad is solar energy for IPL now.
I was actually going for Mysore dosha, but sure, SunRisers Hyderabad also.
Mysore dosha, so that's only Rahul Dravid.
So guys, just to ask you, this initiative is a fantastic initiative. I just wanted to ask you guys.
More so for me because I color my hair every alternate day. Don't worry. Color my beard especially.
No, I think this is the second year Garnier has been involved with the Rajasthan Royals, so we actually know them now for the second year, and I think they've been really important sponsors for us. And it's really been good for us to come on board this initiative because we did an event earlier as well in a mall, and I think this concept of PowerLighting A Village, and just so many parts of India that struggle to get electricity and things that we take for granted actually in day-to-day lives. I think people struggle with. And I think it's great to see that, while obviously they've come on board as a sponsor, it's just nice to see that they've got a CSR angle to this. And, personally, I think Rajasthan Royals and I'm sure the SunRisers Hyderabad as well, they're really happy to support this and hope it's a great success. And it's really up to the people, I think, make it a great success.
Fantastic. Kumar?
Yeah, I think it's great, especially impacts the children of India very much so, impacts the youth very positively. And all the reduces, hopefully, the carbon footprint in the university.
That's an important point.
Yeah, even in Sri Lanka, moving away from coal, diesel, and hydroelectricity to move more sustainable form in that speak. And I think it's something that which markets are looking at in the long term, and very happy to be part of the Garnier.
Awesome. So that's pretty much the end of this Google Hangout. I want to thank everybody on this table for taking time out, for coming and being a part of this. It's been fantastic for me to host this. I wish everybody at this table the best of luck for the remainder of the IPL and for future IPL. So we hope we can do this again. I'm sure the initiative is definitely not the last year for the initiative, and it's fantastic. So you guys know what to do. You guys just need to go out, tweet. You need to go onto Facebook and just go to the Garnier Men India Facebook page. Do your stuff over there. Pick up some Garnier as well if you're going out in the sun and playing cricket and getting into the whole cricket madness. My name is Deepak. You guys can call me Chuck. And it's been a pleasure hosting this. See you guys soon.
Chuck Day, bye.
Thank you.